What is up, y'all? What is a woman? And why does answering that question even matter? Why have they buried her and destroyed her story and her power? Why have they forced her out of the history books and underneath of cloaks when she's the most sacred, but she's been pulverized? Stick around to the end to hear why it matters to you personally and to the world and what we can do about it to empower each other. Because when you know better, you do better. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to our third episode of What's the Solution? You'll have to pardon my voice. I don't have much of one today. But today we're going to be talking about everything to do with what it is to be a woman and why they've tried to destroy the divine feminine. One thing that AI and many other things have taught us lately is that you just can't beat the real thing. And you can take that however you like. Before diving in, let me just say everything is alleged and for entertainment purposes only. These are just my opinions based on my current knowledge and past experiences, and I feel like it might be beneficial to share. So, recapping on last episode, we are going to cross our fingers that we pulled this off without a hitch and without any interruption. I do want to thank everyone in the comment section. I don't really look while I'm talking, but I do go back and read through, and I appreciate all of the good positive feedback. There didn't seem to be any lingering questions. I just wanted to say thank you for it being so nice. Should it not be so nice? If anyone should start acting a fool in the comments section, I've kind of wanted to say this right from the first episode. If they don't seem to be here for open and educational conversation, please treat them as very sad people who need a hug or completely ignore them. Any reaction, even in defense, just lowers you to that frequency, and you can't manifest good things from that place. So send them love and then pretend it didn't happen. Treat them like toddlers kicking and screaming in a grocery store because it's kind of the adult version of that. But take the power away by not giving it a reaction. It's just that simple. I really do believe that um, we're all born out of love. We're all energy, and regardless of environment, we are kind and loving people by nature because we are born of God. That's what I believe. Every child is precious. And when I see somebody acting any way that's not loving, my brain personally asks why. And the type of behavior will usually tell you what that person lacks or lacked growing up. And what happened to them will control their lives and dictate their negative behavior until they overcome it. But it's the place they operate from when it's broken, so to speak. So when I see people acting negatively, to me, it means someone hurt them or neglected them. And it causes them to act out, which means they need love the most. And that's what I see when I look at people. And it turns my personal offense into pity for them, honestly. And then I say a prayer for them and I try to envision them happy, embracing their families. And I genuinely want that for them because who doesn't want that? And that is actually the antidote to the negativity that they're trying to spread. So you got to love them to death and you got to shift your perspective about how we treat these haters in the comments section. Not that there have been any, but if there should be. But doing this with you all every week now has like inspired me with more topics and more ideas. But I do want to hear your suggestions of things that you want to hear discussed or things that we the people can do. I'm just here to try and create some healthy conversation and kind of shift the perspective of things that are going on in our societies. So, jumping right into it, what is a woman and who am I to speak? Well, I happen to be one. And my personal expertise is lived experience with a very unique lens, we'll say. I'm going to discuss both genders a lot, though, and here's why. The foundation of everything I'm going to offer the subject is that no matter how much people try not to acknowledge, this reality of being a human being is based in duality, which means matter only exists in relation to no matter. Light is only light by contrast to dark, which means you can't know one without the other, which means you can't know happiness unless you know sadness, or good days without bad days, light without dark, man without woman. those opposites need clear definition. And sure, you want some gray area. Okay, I can kind of see a spectrum, but I don't believe God makes mistakes. And I believe in honoring and being incredibly grateful for the body that He gave me. And I do that by taking really good care of it and taking the time to specifically say thank you for all of its incredible abilities. And then it just does these things without even thinking so that I can just kick back and enjoy being a human on this absolutely beautiful planet. But the two genders are each other's yin and yang. One doesn't exist without the other. One rules the physical, one rules the emotional, like two halves of a whole, and both halves must be whole before they can self actualize together. Both equally important to make the world go round. So, why has one of those genders been wiped out of the history books and Bible? Why do we no longer protect one of those genders? Why has society and government forced one of those genders to take over both roles and hand over their children? I know this might not seem as much to do with being a woman, but apart from the obvious things that I can say about being a woman, like we have cycles that create emotions that we've had to learn how to manage since we were, maybe around 11, we were treated a certain way growing up based on how we presented. But more than that, we are the glue of the family, the last to eat. And no matter how tired we are, if we feel appreciated, we can move mountains for the people we love on the emptiest of tanks. We are the nurturers, the listeners, and the problem solvers. We take care of the home while it's being provided for and protected. Hardwired into our genes is coding that makes us multiply anything a man gives us. That includes bullshit. But more importantly, life. And we take in hormones differently in order to be more emotionally and spiritually in tune. The union of two souls meant to find each other in this world can change the world. And it is what everyone is seeking. It's what makes the world go round. Love, true connection to people, nature, and art. And if AI taught us anything, is that we got way too far away from it. Now we can appreciate the real thing again. Taking a bit of a sharp turn and not necessarily gender specific, I want to make a bold statement and say that for the just mentioned reasons, your sexual energy is actually quite sacred. And it's a life force that you flounder when you participate in porn, perversion, and casual sex. Yes, I said that. I don't fully understand how they're harvesting your energy through the porn industry, but apparently that is what that's what's happening. And you do a little bit of damage to yourself when you increase your number all the time. Again, they know this, and that's why they've worked so hard to normalize sexual liberation in pop culture. I think exploration is great. I'm not a super prude, but I do think that you should know the repercussions of your actions. Like, I'll eat a bag of chips sometimes. It's not necessarily the best, but I know a bellyache's going to come, and sometimes it's worth it. But speaking of repercussions, God did burn Sodom and Gomorrah for all of the whole city just being of perversion. They sent down angels to save the righteous people from the city, and they told them not to look back or they would turn them to a pillar of salt. Well, they've recently found the pillar of salt that is Lot's wife because she turned around when God was burning the cities, right where the Bible said she would be. Now, here's the really sad and heartbreaking truth, like an elephant in the room that no one wants to talk about, and I'm going to say it. The majority of people were sexually abused as kids. That damages your energy in some way, and it can warp your mind a little. And it's why there's often another victim and another victim and another victim. And that is what is feeding the drug epidemic. I'm pretty positive. You show me an extreme addict that wasn't abused, and I'll be amazed. And then it locks people into this sort of like shame loop silently, which is awful. I was one of the lucky ones that wasn't. It has always been people's instinct to be protective of me, and I am eternally grateful for that. But as a problem solver and a pattern watcher, and growing up around addicts, abuse, and toxic behavior, I could always see patterns. And to the people out there who are watching maybe that weren't so lucky, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart that I say a prayer for you to let go of any shame that you carry. And I want you to offer yourself the same thing that you would offer a friend if they came to you and told you that what happened to you happened to them. And I want you to treat yourself like you would your best friend. Like, why on earth don't you deserve that? Like you do. Would you want your friend to feel the way that you do? No. Think about what you would want for them and try to cultivate that in yourself. If you have to think about yourself from a younger perspective, that can be quite healing as well. And sometimes you have to practice forgiveness 20 times a day. But if you can find gratitude for the things that have happened to you in your life and your traumas, you will find the fast track to healing. But everyone has a thing in their story, even if it wasn't you. There's a thing in everyone's lifetime that creates shame and self denial. No one escapes that as a human being. Don't let it ruin your time on this big spinning ball in these cool avatars. Look it in the eye and figure it out. And that's the only way to get to the other side of the swamp, unfortunately. But everything you want's on the other side, I promise. There's a lot of healing. You just kind of got to walk through it for a bit. Coming back to the talking about women, though, as the givers and the multipliers of life, women are more naturally intuitive and capable of heightened awareness to unseen things. And that is as factual as men having more bone density and more muscle and being generally taller than women. It's just the truth. And in order for the right union of souls to move mountains, both people must be healed and whole on their own. And how many people can really say that? But broken people doing things for the wrong reasons is causing all the problems of the world in either gender across every form of society. But what I see right now, everywhere I look, is girls with control and daddy issues who have been given the run of the roost. Men are now afraid to be men and kind of cower to this type of woman, which only gives her more power. But this type of girl often is a career mom that entraps men with children in order to demonstrate her control and keep a man under her thumb for the better part of 20 years. Typically highly reactive, selfish in the disguise of for the children, incessant about communication, needs to know everything all the time, and needs to occupy all of your time with obligations for the children. All of this is rooted in insecurity. Think about a whole, happy, healed woman for a moment. In contrast, like she just doesn't act this way. She supports, she empowers, she uplifts. But if we know that this type of behavior is rooted in insecurity, then what can other people around the insecure person do? Here's where my favorite word comes into play: accountability. It actually fixes all social and behavioral conundrums. It's a beautiful word. It's my favorite word. I felt some of you just cringe through the phone screen right then and there. It's okay because nobody likes accountability, but it is the birthplace of change. Nothing happens before accountability. And it's so liberating on the other side. I promise all of you. But some of y'all's gentle parenting has created some real assholes for the rest of the world to have to deal with and teach now. Accountability is a loving thing. Don't get it twisted. But as it pertains to the toxic female or toxic anybody, they only have the power you give them. And the behavior only continues if you allow it. If you didn't allow it, it would go away. If you demanded better for yourselves, you would get it. But everyone is always too afraid to rock the boat, too scared of the big bad reaction she always gives. Just like you get scared of the fines when the government takes your liberties away and threatens you if you don't comply. No one actually paid a single one of those fines because, first of all, they're unconstitutional. They're just threats. And what I said to everybody I knew all the way through COVID was take the fine. Uh, if we all took the fine or called the bluff, we'd be pleasantly surprised to find out it was bullshit. And if men all started to call it out and not put up with girls who acted this way, girls would have to stop acting this way. You see, men, you do have the power. The toxic feminine, or the girl in this case, has been running the roost for too long. They often look the same these days. The lips, the cheeks, the foreheads, the eyebrows, the fake everything everywhere. There is no judgment. It's just my pattern recognition trying to help y'all. And they are sweet as pie to most people's faces or whoever they are benefiting from. You know that saying, you're only as strong as your weakest player? You're only as kind as you are when no one's looking. And you're only as good as you are to every person, regardless of their status. So, how do you recognize it and not get tangled up in it in the first place? Here's the golden ticket, fellas. At the first sign of an attempt to control, you run because it's not circumstantial, it's not a one off. The disease of needing to change someone or to have control over them has no satisfaction. There will never be a point in which it will be enough because what she is trying to do is fill a void, and she's using people around her to try and satisfy a deeper need for certainty. A need for control is deep in your character and requires serious introspection to correct. You have to know the deeper reason for why. Tony Robinson gives a great explanation. I can't fully remember it, but he talks about all the different needs of why people are doing things all the time. There's a need for validation, a need for significance, a need for certainty, and a need for uncertainty. And that's kind of your, you know, dramatic bestie that loves drama. But in all of these, women are typically, especially seeking safety and certainty. And depending on your level of trauma, you may require a little extra sort of attentiveness. I know I do. My fight or flight can kick off pretty quick after all of these hellfires that I've been through. And when I was young, I could see those like toxic things mildly in myself. I was never a controlling person, but you'd be amazed at what you'd find you're always trying to mildly control if you spend some time being really, really honest with yourself. Um, Road rage is a good example of this. You get angry because you can't control what's happening in front of you. You can't go the speed you want to. You can't make the car in front of you move, and it creates anxiety. My best guess is that uh, women who need control over other people probably feel this way. Couple that with the way a woman is able to turn anything into an injustice somehow. And there you go, fellas. It's crazy town from there. uh, but it comes from trauma and neglect. And what she is seeking is safety and certainty. So you have to either love and reassure it out of her while she does therapy if it's worth it to you, or walk away. But you can't accept it anymore, men. Um, I can only speak for myself, but I do recognize a lot more women naturally doing, speaking, and sharing the same energy in my algorithm. But being a woman to me is loving nature and wanting to grow new life. It's wanting to make a difference to other people and find ways to enrich the lives of those around me. It's wanting to be of service to my family and community. It's about dreaming about being in the heart of my own home, hosting others, and creating my own memories. It is having to always be on guard of certain kinds of attention and knowing how to read it, which requires us to be more in tune to subtlety and deception. It's feeling and sensing things that we don't always have context for. And with being a woman comes power and great responsibility. It's like Superman. Although many don't see the responsibility, they just take the power. They enter into relationships with the expectation to gain with no responsibility on their end. Not only that, bury a man in the divorce and feel entitled to everything. As someone who takes great pride in my femininity, this is a disgrace to the gender, and I will not stop calling out this type of female because I want no association. I really don't like that this has become the status quo. That is what girls do. That is not real women. And part of the responsibility is holding our men to account and not allowing our men to be anything but their best in a kind and loving way. Some ladies forget the kind and loving part. But all of the things I have discussed about being a woman, I haven't mentioned my body really, because my body in general is such a small portion of who I am, let alone as a woman. And that has been the most confusing thing to me as I've watched the world these days. The question that constantly pops up in my mind is, why are we being taught to put so much of our identity into gender and sexual preference? You are so much more than that. The answer is because it's been hijacked and used against the masses to provoke sympathy, which is used as a shield or a blinder to all their other self serving agendas. The point I'm making is, if my body changed tomorrow for any reason, all the things I have mentioned this whole episode would still be true. I respect that women can feel more masculine and men the opposite, but your body is a gift, a precious one. The odds of you getting to have it were pretty slim to begin with. Self love and acceptance is the answer. That's all I'm saying. I, as always, have hoped to be an example, at the very least, of somebody who embodies these qualities. I honor this incredible body and all that it's capable of. I could lose my sight. So I say thank you for all of the beautiful colors that I can take in from nature every day. I could be paralyzed tomorrow. So I say thank you that I have full mobility and range of motion. Being a woman is being half of a whole, though, both personally and as a society. We need to assume the responsibilities better in order for our relationships and communities to function better. How can we do that? I put that to you. But for me, it's volunteering where and when I can. It's offering advice and help where and when I can. And it's holding space for people, or being a supportive partner when I'm in a relationship. It's also carrying myself with integrity. Being a woman it's not trying to be equal to men in all ways. It's understanding our different strengths and weaknesses, and that both genders and the qualities that they embody are necessary to run governments, to run households, to run everything. You need somebody that's worrying about protection and providing while somebody's worrying about social programs and feelings. And the woman in me wants to shift the world to understand the power of the right union and how we can honor the differences better. There needs to be left and right, not left versus right. As it stands, they feminize men through the water and through pop culture, while masculating women and forcing them out of the home into the workforce, while they parent, pinning parents against each other by making women reliant on the government. They've made men afraid to be men. Women lost respect. They made genders mean nothing and everything. Sold you casual hookup culture, porn. Man, they are throwing everything at that sacred union. I feel we are yet to fully uncover the answer as to why we've kept her story out of the Bible, out of Egypt, out of history. And even in the Bible, they use slight translational shifts to downplay the power of that sacred union and the female role. They left out so many books. But the solution is, women need healing and to stand in their womanhood a little bit better. If you are a healed person, I encourage you to share your healing with others, and hopefully, we can at least be an example to those who are not yet healed. But in all of this, I hope that this empowers you or shifts the way you look at your relationships or your own roles within, or at least gets you thinking about your own perceptions about what's happening and what is a woman on every scale and in every sense. I just feel like we really need to change the way we look at these things. It's like they're not completely wrong. They're just off just ever so slightly. I'm going to just pause and pop over here. Play that guitar, somebody said. Oh, thanks, guys. Uh, okay. I did pop on there and say that I was going to share a fun little song with you. Kind of keeps popping into my head as this topic's been, as I've been working on what I wanted to say to you all. And I was like, this song would actually be quite perfect. It's just a funny one. It's not really worth, recording or anything yet. We'll see. We'll see how you all respond to this right now. I didn't bring up the words, so hopefully I even remember the words, but I did promise this. So this is a little tune that I wrote. It doesn't even have a name. It's just, um, what do we call it? It's a song about the hot and crazy Matrix. Okay, here we go. She was 5'2" with a bad attitude, really winning her sweet charm. It ain't hard to tell that you're proud as hell with that pretty thing on your arm. Till you find out what she's really about, what's in her crazy bag of tricks. That fine as hell's high on the scale of that hot and crazy matrix. I hate to be the one to tell you she ain't your unicorn. You would have known that if you gave it a little time. She'll be buck wild if she loves you, so will the other kind. Just decide which kind of crazy that you like. Something like that. She was almost cute with her daddy issues, but she kept a good lid on that. Here, take these, please, big girl panties, 'cause ain't nobody got time for that. Boys, I do feel sorry for you. It's a confusing world for you these days. Maybe take a stand, be a real man, and quit putting up with these games. I'd hate to be the one to tell you she ain't your unicorn. You would have known that if you gave it a little time. She'll be buck wild if she loves you, so will the other kind. Just decide which kind of crazy that you like. I have no voice. So there you go. You can all give it a name if you'd like. Anyway, thank you all so much for tuning in. We're next Tuesday. I think we're gonna chat about the big bad alcohol, because that's definitely a topic I want to touch on. But if you have comments or suggestions, please leave them. I'd love to. I got a million ideas, but I'd love to hear yours as well. And I hope you all have a great rest of your night, great week, and I'll see you back here next Tuesday.